There are 5 full-size SUVs sitting on dealer lots right now, brand new and used, that salespeople are practically begging people to look at. Meanwhile, every car-savvy buyer I know is quietly scooping them up while everyone else fights over Tahoes at sticker price and 4Runners with $8,000 markups. These are not compromises. These are not project vehicles. I am talking about full-size, 3-row, body-on-frame trucks disguised as SUVs that will tow your boat, haul your entire family, and run for 250,000 miles, selling for thousands, sometimes tens of thousands less than they should. The reason? Nobody is paying attention. After years of watching the full-size SUV market, I have seen this pattern over and over. People flock to whatever is trending. Right now, that is the Tahoe, the 4Runner, and anything with a Toyota badge. And while those buyers are fighting each other and paying premiums, these 5 SUVs just sit there, rotting on lots, waiting for someone smart enough to notice. SUV number 1 on this list is the one that genuinely shocks people when I bring it up. I have had grown adults argue with me about it until they drive one, and then they buy it. Today, I am counting down my 5 most overlooked full-size SUVs on the market right now, the ones offering serious capability at prices that do not make sense for how good they are. I am going deepest on number 1 because that vehicle might be the single best-kept secret in the entire full-size SUV market. Let's get into it. Number 5. GMC Yukon. Number 5 is a full-size SUV that shares every single mechanical component with the Chevrolet Tahoe, but depreciates $8,000 to $12,000 faster because of one simple problem. People cross-shop it against luxury SUVs instead of comparing it to what it actually is, a Tahoe in a nicer suit. Here's what I mean. A 2021 GMC Yukon SLT rolled off the lot at around $62,000 to $67,000. Right now, that same truck with 60,000 to 80,000 miles is going for $32,000 to $38,000. That is a $30,000 hit in roughly 4 years. Meanwhile, a 2021 Tahoe LT, mechanically identical, same 5.3-liter V8, same 10-speed automatic, same frame, same suspension, is holding value a few $1,000s better simply because Tahoe buyers know what they are getting into from the start. Yukon buyers walked in expecting a luxury experience, got disappointed it was not quite a Denali, and traded it in early. That early trade-in is your gain. The 5th-generation Yukon from 2021 onward is built on GM's T1 platform with an independent rear suspension, which was a massive upgrade from the solid rear axle of earlier models. That means the ride quality is legitimately close to luxury SUV territory. Under the hood, the 5.3-liter L84 V8 with dynamic fuel management can deactivate cylinders on demand, meaning this 5,500-pound SUV can get up to 20 miles per gallon on the highway. And if the previous owner opted for the 6.2-liter V8, you are getting 420 horsepower and a powertrain that GM has been refining since the LS engine family started in 1997. That is nearly 3 decades of iterative improvement on the same architecture. Repair costs on these are reasonable because everything under the skin is shared with the Silverado, Sierra, Tahoe, Tahoe, and Suburban. Parts are everywhere. Every mechanic in America has worked on these drivetrains. Brake pads for all 4 corners cost around $350. A transmission fluid change is about $220. The 5.3-liter V8 uses a timing chain, not a belt, designed to last the life of the engine. When you are shopping for a Yukon, here is what to look for. check for active fuel management or dynamic fuel management lifter issues on the 5.3-liter. Some early 2021 models had lifter failures, which is a known issue with certain GM V8s. Pull the oil cap, look for sludge, and listen for any ticking at cold start. Test the magnetic ride control if it is equipped. Push down hard on each corner. If one rebounds differently, budget $800 to $1,200 per shock. Check the infotainment screen for delamination or dead spots. Some early production units had touchscreen issues. Find one that was a family vehicle, not a fleet vehicle. Fleet Yukons get driven hard and maintained to minimums. Bottom line on the Yukon, you are getting the exact same truck as a Tahoe, often with better interior appointments for less money on the used market because GM buyers trade in faster and the depreciation curve is steeper. That is not a problem. That is an opportunity. Number 4. Chevrolet Tahoe. Now I know what you are thinking. Didn't I just say people are fighting over Tahoes? Yes, for new ones and for the latest generation. But the 4th generation Tahoe from 2015 to 2020 is sitting on used lots at prices that are genuinely difficult to believe for what you are getting. A 2018 Chevrolet Tahoe LT with 80,000 to 100,000 miles is going for $24,000 to $30,000 right now. This was a $55,000 to $60,000 vehicle when new. That is 50% depreciation on a truck that has barely reached its midlife. I had a friend last year, a guy in his late 30s with 2 kids, who needed something that could tow a 5,000-pound camper and still be the daily driver. He was looking at a new Tahoe and nearly choked on the $65,000 sticker. I told him to look at a 2019 Tahoe LT with 72,000 miles. He found one for $28,500 with a clean Carfax, 1 owner, dealer serviced. That was 8 months ago. You know what he has spent on it? An oil change, a set of tires he wanted to upgrade anyway, and a new cabin air filter. Total out-of-pocket beyond the purchase price, about $900, and $700 of that was the tires. Here is why the 2015 to 2020 Tahoe is such a goldmine. The 5.3-liter Ecotec 3V. 8 in these things is an absolute workhorse. It is the same engine family that powers millions of Silverados, and it has been proven over and over to run 250,000 to 300,000 miles with basic maintenance. It does not use a turbo. It does not have a complex hybrid system. It is a naturally aspirated V8 with a 6-speed automatic from 2015 to 2019, or a newer transmission depending on the year. Simple, proven, accessible. Towing capacity on these is up to 8,600 pounds with the max trailering package. That covers a boat, a camper, a pair of jet skis, whatever your weekend looks like. And the interior on the LT and Premier trims is genuinely nice. Heated leather seats, Bose sound system, tri-zone climate control. This is not some stripped-down work truck. What to watch for? The biggest known issue on this generation is the active fuel management system, which can cause lifter failures. If you hear a ticking noise on startup, especially on the 5.3-liter, have a mechanic check the lifters before you buy. This is a $2,500 to $4,000 repair if it goes, but it is also well documented and preventable with proper oil changes using Dexos-rated oil. Also check the transfer case on 4-wheel drive models. Listen for any grinding or whining during low-speed turns. And look at the condition of the leather on the driver's seat bolster. These are big, heavy vehicles, and the leather wears in a specific pattern that tells you exactly how many miles the driver actually put on it versus what the odometer says. Who should buy this? Anyone who needs a legitimate full-size SUV that can do everything, tow, haul, road trip, daily commute, and does not want to spend $60,000 or more to get it. The 2015 to 2020 Tahoe is a known quantity. It is not exciting, it is not new, but it is proven, parts are cheap, and the depreciation has already happened. You are buying the flattest part of the value curve. Number 3, Ford Expedition. This is where things start to get really interesting. The 4th generation Ford Expedition, from 2018 to 2024, is arguably the most capable full-size SUV on the market, and it is depreciating like it has something to hide. It does not. Ford just cannot shake the perception problem. A 2020 Ford Expedition XLT 4x4 with 70,000 miles is going for $27,000 to $33,000. That is a vehicle that's stickered for over $58,000 new. That is over 50% depreciation in 5 years. Compare that to a Toyota Sequoia of the same era, which, granted, is a different vehicle, but it holds value like it is made of gold, even though the 2020 Sequoia was running a platform from 2008. Let me explain why the Expedition is special. When Ford redesigned it for 2018, they did the same thing they did with the F-150. They went all in on aluminum. The body panels are aluminum, which dropped 300 pounds off the curb weight compared to the previous generation. That means better acceleration, better fuel economy, and less strain on every mechanical component. The 3.5-liter EcoBoost twin turbo V6. In these things, puts out 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque and 400 horsepower in the Platinum trim. That is more torque than the Tahoe's Vive 8 in a lighter package. The 10-speed automatic that Ford co-developed with GM is smooth and proven across millions of F-150s. Towing capacity is up to 9,300 pounds with the heavy-duty trailer tow package. And here is the detail most people miss. The Expedition has independent rear suspension. The Tahoe from this era still had a solid rear axle. That means the Expedition rides flatter, handles better, and is significantly more comfortable over rough pavement. Ford solved the full-size SUV ride quality problem years before GM caught up with the 2021 Tahoe redesign. Interior space is another area where the Expedition dominates. The Expedition Max, the extended wheelbase version, offers 121.5 cubic feet of total cargo space. The third row is actually usable for adults, not just kids. And the power folding seats across all rows make reconfiguring the cargo area a 30-second job instead of a wrestling match. Inspection checklist for a used Expedition. First, check the turbo inlet pipes. Some 2018 and 2019 models had issues with charge air cooler condensation causing a stumble or misfire in humid conditions. Ford issued a technical service bulletin for this. Make sure it has been addressed. Second, look at the oil change history. The 3.5-liter EcoBoost is a direct injection turbocharged engine. It needs consistent oil changes with full synthetic at the recommended intervals. Neglected oil changes on a turbo engine are a deal breaker. Walk away. Third, test the power running boards if equipped. These are notorious for getting stuck or slow to deploy on all Ford trucks. They cost about $500 per side to replace. Fourth, feel for any shudder in the transmission between 40 and 60 miles per hour. Some early 10-speed units had torque converter shudder. Ford updated the fluid spec and software to fix this. If you can find a 2020 or newer Expedition XLT or Limited with 60,000 to 80,000 miles and a documented service history, you are getting more SUV for the dollar than almost anything else on the road. Kelley Blue Book has given the Expedition its Best Buy award in the full-size SUV Class 7 consecutive times. That is not a coincidence. Number 2, Nissan Armada. This is the one where people look at me funny, and that reaction is exactly why it is such a good deal. Nobody thinks of Nissan when they think full-size SUV, and that single fact has created one of the most lopsided value propositions in the entire market. The second-generation Nissan Armada, from 2017 to 2024, is based on the Nissan Patrol, one of the most respected and proven SUV platforms on the planet. In the Middle East, Africa, and Australia, the Patrol is legendary. It is the vehicle people trust with their lives in some of the harshest conditions on Earth. The Armada is that same vehicle, retuned for the American market with a nicer interior and more tech. Americans largely treat it like it does not exist. A 2020 Nissan Armada SL four-wheel drive with 65,000 miles is selling for $25,000 to $30,000. A comparable 2020 Chevrolet Tahoe LT with similar miles is going for $32,000 to $38,000. That is $7,000 to $8,000 less for a vehicle that is, in many ways, built to a higher standard of global durability. The heart of the Armada is the 5.6-liter VK56VD V8. This engine produces 390 horsepower and 394 pound-feet of torque. It is a naturally aspirated V8 with no turbo to fail, and it is mated to a 7-speed automatic transmission. The VK56 engine family has been in production since 2004, and owners routinely report 200,000 to 300,000 miles with no major engine work. The engine block is aluminum alloy with ductile iron cylinder liners, and it uses a timing chain, not a belt. The variable valve event and lift system on the VD variant improves both power delivery and fuel efficiency compared to the earlier DE version. Here is what you need to know when shopping for an Armada. First, listen for timing chain rattle on cold start. Some earlier VK56VD engines had tensioner wear, which manifests as a brief rattle that goes away once oil pressure builds. If the rattle persists for more than a few seconds, have a mechanic inspect the chain guides. That is roughly a $1,500 to $2,000 repair if needed, but most do not need it. Second, check the catalytic converters on higher mileage examples over 120,000 miles. The VK56 is known for catalyst degradation at very high miles, and failing catalytic converters can send debris back into the engine. If you smell sulfur or the check engine light shows catalyst efficiency codes, get that addressed. Third, look at the coolant. Pink coolant is good. Brown or murky coolant is a sign of neglected maintenance. Fourth, test the infotainment system thoroughly. Some 2017 to 2019 models had software glitches and slow screen response. The Armada can tow up to 8,500 pounds. The interior is legitimately spacious and premium, especially in the SL and Platinum trims. It has heated and cooled leather seats, a dual-screen rear entertainment system, and a build quality that feels more substantial than what most people expect from Nissan. It rides like a luxury SUV because underneath it basically is one. Its Infiniti QX80 sibling sells for $15,000 to $20,000 more on the used market for the same mechanical package with a fancier badge. The Armada is the full-size SUV for the buyer who does their homework instead of following the crowd. Cars.com just named the redesigned 2026 Armada their best SUV of 2026 for its combination of versatility, value, and capability. The market is starting to catch on. Buy one now before it does. Number 1. Toyota Sequoia, second generation, 2008 to 2022. This is the SUV I recommend more than any other full-size. When people ask me what they should actually buy if they want something that will last and not drain their bank account every 6 months, this is my answer. Nearly everyone pushes back at first. They say they have never even thought about the Sequoia. That is exactly the point. The second generation Toyota Sequoia ran for 15 model years with almost no changes. 15 years. Toyota kept building it because it did not need to change. It was right from the start. And because it sat in the shadows while the 4Runner got all the attention and the Land Cruiser became a status symbol, the Sequoia quietly became the most undervalued full-size SUV in America. Let me tell you how absurd the pricing is right now. A 2018 Toyota Sequoia SR5 with 80,000 miles is going for $28,000 to $33,000. A 2018 Toyota 4Runner TRD Off-Road with the same mileage is going for $32,000 to $38,000. The Sequoia is bigger, more powerful, has a third row, and is selling for less than the smaller, less powerful 4Runner. Read that again. The bigger Toyota with more capability is cheaper than the smaller one because of perception. Here is what makes the second-generation Sequoia special. The 5.7-liter E-Force V8 is the same engine that powers the Toyota Tundra and the now discontinued Land Cruiser 200 series. This is one of the most reliable V8 engines ever mass-produced. The 3UR-FE is naturally aspirated, uses a timing chain, and has no turbo, no supercharger, and no direct injection problems to deal with. It just runs. I have personally seen these engines go past 300,000 miles on nothing but oil changes, brake pads, and the occasional accessory belt. The 6-speed automatic transmission Toyota paired with it is equally bulletproof. It is not the newest, it is not the most refined, but it was designed to survive everything an owner could throw at it. The frame is fully boxed, body-on-frame construction. It can tow up to 7,400 pounds. It seats 8 people. The third row folds flat into the floor, creating a cavernous cargo area. And because Toyota barely changed anything for 15 years, every mechanic in the country knows exactly how to work on it, and parts are affordable and everywhere. Now let me give you the real comparison that nobody talks about. The Land Cruiser 200 series from 2008 to 2021 uses the same 5.7-liter engine on a similar platform. A 2018 Land Cruiser with 80,000 miles is selling for $55,000 to $65,000, sometimes more. The Sequoia, with the same engine and similar capability for most use cases, is literally half the price. The Land Cruiser tax is real, and the Sequoia is the way around it. When you are shopping for a second-generation Sequoia, here is what matters. First, check underneath for frame rust, especially on vehicles that spent time in northern states or the Rust Belt. Toyota had some frame corrosion issues on earlier Tundras and some Sequoias. Look at the frame rails behind the rear axle and around the spare tire mount. Surface rust is fine. Scaling or flaking is a walk away. Second, check the air suspension on limited models. Some Sequoia limited trims came with rear air springs that can leak over time. Replacement is about $600 to $800 per side, or you can convert to standard coil springs for around $400. Third, look at the secondary air injection system. This is an emissions component that can fail and throw a check engine light. It is not a reliability issue with the engine itself, but it can cost $800 to $1,200 to repair. Make sure the check engine light is off and ask for the reason if it was recently cleared. Fourth, the 5.7 is known for developing a minor exhaust manifold tick. It sounds alarming, but it is cosmetic. The manifold bolts can loosen slightly over time. Retorquing them is cheap. Who should buy the Sequoia? Anyone who wants Toyota reliability in a full-size package without paying the Toyota 4Runner or Land Cruiser Premium. Highway commuters who need space. This thing eats miles like it was designed for it, because it was. Families who tow. A 5,000-pound boat? Easy. A medium camper trailer? No problem. And anyone who plans to keep a vehicle for 200,000 miles or more and wants the lowest possible surprise repair risk. Who should skip it? If you care about fuel economy, look elsewhere. The 5.7 drinks fuel. Expect 13 to 15 miles per gallon in real-world driving. If you want the latest tech and infotainment, the Sequoia interior from 2008 to 2022 looks dated by modern standards. The screen is small, the buttons are old school, and there is no wireless CarPlay on most years. And if you need something that handles like a car, this is a truck. It drives like a truck. That is not a complaint. That is what it is. Here is my final take on the Sequoia. This is the best full-size SUV value in America right now. Toyota's most reliable V8. A platform proven across millions of Tundras and Land Cruisers. 3 rows, real towing capability, body-on-frame toughness. And it is priced like people forgot it exists. They did. And that is exactly why you should be buying one. So there it is. 5 full-size SUVs the market left behind, but smart buyers have not. The GMC Yukon, identical to the Tahoe but thousands cheaper because of badge perception. The Chevrolet Tahoe, 4th generation, a proven workhorse sitting in the depreciation sweet spot. The Ford Expedition, the most capable full-size SUV dollar for dollar, with aluminum construction and independent rear suspension. The Nissan Armada, global patrol DNA at a fraction of what it should cost. And the Toyota Sequoia, 2nd generation, the single most undervalued, reliable full-size SUV you can buy today. You now know 5 full-size SUVs you can buy right now that will outlast vehicles twice their price. Next time a dealer tries to push you into a new Tahoe at sticker or a marked-up 4Runner, you will know there are better options sitting right there on the same lot, waiting for someone to notice. If this kind of straight talk helps you, hit subscribe. I have more videos coming on the SUVs that actually make sense versus the ones dealers want you to buy. Like if it helped. Drive safe. Take care of your vehicle and it will take care of you. Take it or leave it. I will see you in the next one.